Every man carries a woman inside him, not in flesh, not in fantasy, but in shadow. Carl Jung called her the Anima, the unconscious feminine side of a man's psyche. She influences how you love, who you chase, and how easily your soul breaks when she disappears. But here's the warning Jung gave. If you don't face her, she will control you. You think you're choosing her, but maybe she's choosing you. Carl Jung wasn't afraid of the darkness. He believed that the human mind isn't just thoughts and logic. It's a battlefield of hidden forces. Deep inside every man exists a feminine presence, not a fantasy, not a person, but a psychological force. Jung called her Anima. She's the mirror of everything you've ignored. Your emotions, your vulnerability, your romantic ideals, your fears of rejection. According to Jung, most men live their entire lives projecting this inner woman onto real women. And when that happens, they don't see reality. They fall in love with their own illusions. Worse, if the Anima remains unconscious, she becomes manipulative, seductive, even destructive, pulling you into fantasies, obsessions, emotional chaos. So the question is, what is the Anima? Where does she come from? And how can you recognize when she's controlling your life? That's what this video will uncover. And by the end, you won't just understand Jung's theory. You'll understand yourself. To understand the Anima, you first need to understand how Carl Jung saw the mind. Unlike Freud, who believed that the unconscious was just a storage house for repressed desires, Jung saw it as something far deeper, a living system with structure, symbols, and purpose. At the center of his theory lies the idea of the collective unconscious, a shared layer of the mind that connects all human beings. It's filled with ancient patterns Jung called archetypes, universal images and instincts that shape our behavior, dreams, and relationships. Some of the most powerful archetypes Jung identified were the persona, the mask we wear in society; the shadow, the dark parts of ourselves we reject; the anima, the inner feminine in men; the animus, the inner masculine in women; the self, the higher, integrated whole. We're trying to become Jung, believe that most people stay trapped in their persona, living fake lives, hiding their real feelings, and ignoring the deeper layers of who they are. But for those who seek truth, there's a journey called individuation, the process of becoming whole by facing your shadow, discovering your anima, and integrating the unconscious with the conscious. And that's where the anima comes in. Because for any man to truly evolve, he must confront, understand, and integrate the woman inside him. Fail to do that, and you stay incomplete, controlled, fragmented. What is the anima? Carl Jung said, every man carries within him the eternal image of woman. That image is the anima. She is not a fantasy or a daydream. She is a deep psychological blueprint, formed by your earliest emotional experiences with women. It starts in childhood. Your first encounter with the feminine is usually your mother, her love, her attention, her rejection, her unpredictability. It all gets imprinted into your subconscious. Over time, those early impressions evolve into a complex feminine image inside you, one that guides how you feel about women and how you feel about yourself. This inner woman, the anima, lives in the unconscious mind, beyond logic or control. She appears in your dreams, influences your moods, shapes your romantic attractions, and affects your emotional reactions in ways you don't even notice. Jung believed the anima develops through 4 stages in a man's psychological life. The 4 stages of the anima. 1. Eve, the biological, instinctual woman. She represents desire, fertility, the need for survival and sensual connection. 2. Helen, the romantic, seductive woman, symbol of beauty, charm, sexual attraction, and fantasy. 3. Mary, the virtuous, spiritual woman, represents compassion, purity, nurturing, often worshipped or idealized. 4. Sophia, the integrated, wise woman. She is the final stage, a symbol of inner balance, wisdom, and intuitive power. Each stage reflects how evolved your relationship is with your inner feminine. Most men, Jung believed, never go beyond the second or third stage, which means they stay stuck in projection, fantasy, or idealization. And this brings us to Jung's warning. If you don't become conscious of the anima, she will possess you from the inside. Jung's warning. Carl Jung didn't just describe the anima. He warned about her. He said that if a man doesn't confront and understand his inner woman, she doesn't disappear. She grows stronger, in the shadows. And from there, she begins to possess him. But what does that actually mean? 1. Emotional possession. An unconscious anima takes over your emotions. You find yourself reacting irrationally, overwhelmed by moods you can't explain. Suddenly you're overly sensitive to rejection, craving validation, addicted to emotional highs and lows, lost in fantasy rather than reality. You're no longer thinking. You're feeling, constantly. And the feelings aren't even yours. They're hers. 2. Romantic projection. Jung said that a man projects his anima onto women he meets. That means you're not actually in love with her. You're in love with your own unconscious image of femininity cast onto her. And because no real woman can match that fantasy, you're either disappointed or obsessed. This leads to toxic attachments, idealization of partners, sudden emotional crashes, heartbreak that feels like identity loss. You don't fall in love, you fall into a spell, created by your own psyche. 3. Loss of will, masculine direction. The possessed man loses his clarity and purpose. He becomes indecisive, emotionally chaotic, disconnected from his masculine identity. Instead of leading his life, he follows moods, desires, fantasies, most of which aren't even his own. Jung warned that such a man becomes vulnerable to manipulation, not just by women, but by any force that resembles his inner anima, media, idols, temptations, even ideologies. The possession of a man by the anima, Jung wrote, is seen in moodiness, insecurity, weakness, and a total lack of direction. In short, if you don't claim your anima, she will claim you. The ideal woman illusion. Jung believed that the anima doesn't just influence who you're attracted to. She builds a fantasy, a dreamlike image of the perfect woman. And this image is powerful. She's beautiful, understanding, nurturing, mysterious, sensual, whatever your unconscious craves. But here's the brutal truth. She doesn't exist. She is a mirror of your deepest longings, formed from childhood impressions, media, culture, past trauma, and projected onto real women who can never fully match it. The consequences of this illusion. 1. You fall in love too fast. You're drawn to a woman not because of who she is, but because she matches your internal fantasy. 2. You get obsessed. When she leaves, you feel like you've lost part of yourself. Not because she was your soulmate, but because your anima was projected onto her. 3. You ignore red flags. The illusion blinds you. You can't see who she actually is, only what you want her to be. 4. You idealize, then resent. When the real woman doesn't live up to the fantasy, you get bitter, disappointed, even angry, not realizing the illusion was your own. This is what Jung meant when he said, the projection of the anima leads to an enchantment, a magical illusion, until it breaks. Real love is based on clarity, awareness, and wholeness. The anima illusion is based on longing, fantasy, and unconscious wounds. Until you recognize this pattern, you'll keep chasing the same woman, with a different face, and the same disappointment. How to integrate the anima. Jung never said the anima was evil. He said she was dangerous when unconscious, but transformative when integrated. To escape the illusion, you don't need to reject the anima. You need to face her, understand her, and reclaim her as a part of yourself. Here's how Jung believed you can begin that process. 1. Become aware of the projection. The first step is to realize when you're not seeing the woman in front of you. You're seeing your own anima on her face. Ask yourself, am I in love with her, or with how she makes me feel? Am I projecting qualities onto her that she hasn't shown? Am I expecting perfection, mystery, or emotional salvation? Naming the projection breaks the illusion. 2. Confront your shadow. The anima is closely tied to your shadow, the parts of yourself you've rejected, your emotional needs, your vulnerability, your desire to be held, to feel safe, to be nurtured. These are often seen as feminine, and so they get buried. But the more you repress them, the more power the anima has over you. By doing shadow work, facing your emotional wounds, journaling, reflecting, even working with dreams, you begin to reclaim your wholeness. 3. Observe her in your dreams. Jung believed that the anima most often appears in dreams, as mysterious women, lovers, mothers, witches, or even dangerous seductresses. When you dream of such figures, don't just analyze them literally. Ask, what part of me is she representing? Is she guiding me, tempting me, warning me? Your anima is trying to speak. Pay attention. 4. Balance masculine and feminine energies. The goal is not to become feminine. The goal is to integrate, to balance your inner masculine direction with your feminine intuition, emotion, and sensitivity. This balance makes you emotionally intelligent, creatively powerful, spiritually whole. An integrated man is no longer ruled by his inner woman. He partners with her, and together, he becomes a more complete self. The psychological goal of every man is to find the divine woman within, not to worship her, but to unite with her. Carl Jung. Real-world application. How the anima plays out today. You might think, this is just philosophy, it doesn't affect me. But if you've ever fallen for someone way too fast, got obsessed with a woman who wasn't even good for you, built an entire relationship in your head before even knowing her, felt broken when she pulled away, like you lost your identity or confused love with emotional chaos and fantasy, then Jung would say, your anima is running the show. Modern dating anima projection apps like Tinder and Instagram amplify anima projection. You scroll through perfectly edited photos, and suddenly, one face feels magical. It's not because of her caption or her bio. It's because your unconscious saw her, your internal feminine ideal, reflected in her image. That's not love, that's anima projection, and it's everywhere. Movies, music, and media. Hollywood sells you the dream girl constantly. From Disney princesses to manic pixie dream girls to femme fatale, these are not real women. They're anima archetypes, crafted to mirror your unconscious longing. And the more media you consume without awareness, the more your real-life expectations get distorted. The emotionally lost modern man. Many men today feel emotionally numb, directionless, spiritually empty, addicted to porn, fantasy, or validation. Jung would say, this is a sign of anima possession. The feminine energy inside is unintegrated, so it rebels, it seduces, it sabotages. The solution is not to escape women, it's to understand the woman within. What does anima integration look like in real life? You stop chasing fantasy and build real connection. You don't crumble when rejected, you stay centered. You think clearly, feel deeply, and choose wisely. You respect women, not worship them. You become whole, not dependent. This is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and being a man who owns them. Carl Jung's warning about women, Anima. The anima is the inner feminine energy inside every man, formed from early emotional experiences, especially with women. If unconscious, the anima possesses you. Mood swings, obsessive love, emotional chaos, loss of masculine direction. You may fall in love not with her, but with your own projection of an ideal woman. Most modern relationships fail because people chase fantasy, not reality. Jung's 4 stages of the Anima, Eve, Helen, Mary, Sophia, show your emotional and spiritual evolution. Media, dating apps, and loneliness magnify Anima projections, trapping men in illusion. Integration means observing your emotional patterns, doing shadow work, understanding your dreams, balancing your masculine and feminine energies. An integrated man is not weak or soft. He is whole, self-aware, emotionally powerful, and spiritually grounded. Jung didn't say avoid women. He said, understand the woman inside you, because the moment you do that, you stop chasing illusions and start living in truth. If this video made you uncomfortable, good. That means the Anima heard you. Now ask yourself, what kind of women are you drawn to? Do you fall for their soul or your own fantasy? Do you know the woman in front of you or just the one inside your head? Because if you don't confront your inner feminine, she will run your emotions, sabotage your relationships, and keep you chasing illusions. But the moment you turn inward, face her, understand her, integrate her, you stop being a boy and become a man, one who doesn't worship women, but understands them because he understands himself. If you want more content like this, deep philosophy, dark psychology, and the truth no one else tells you, then subscribe, because this channel doesn't give comfort, it gives clarity. And in a world of fantasy, that's the rarest thing there is.